All right, everyone. Welcome back to Double Overtime. Aiden Michaels and Jack Weisberg here with you as always. Today we've got a very special guest. He's returning to the YouTube scene after quite a few years. I used to have a soccer podcast with him back in high school. It's Parker Masana. Parker, how are you, bud?
Hello, I'm good. How's
All
everyone
right.
doing?
Fantastic. Jack, good?
Good,
I
great.
like I like the background.
Thank you. I thought, yeah, we'd come from space today.
All right, so we're going to go down the line. We're going to start with our first round predictions. We're going to start in the Western Conference with the one that I don't really want to talk about, but we're going to have to start with it. The Colorado Avalanche, the President's Trophy winners, and the Los Angeles Kings, who just squeaked in the wild card two spot. Jack, would you want to start us off here with what you got for LA versus Colorado?
I hate to start us off on a negative note, but we're playing the Avalanche. They got all the stars. They're one of the fastest transition teams in the league, and they have a shit ton of playoff experience, for lack of a better term. So, um, even though LA could, they'd love to slow the game down and play their game, I just don't see that happening. So I have the Avs in five.
Five, so you're giving the Kings a game.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah, we'll squeak one out.
Parker, what do you got? Something similar?
Yeah, something almost identical. I've got Avalanche in 5 games. I mean, I just see the Avalanche pelting whoever the Kings put in the net. Uh, they're gonna try to slow the game down. I just don't really see it happening. McCarr, McKinnon, too much star power, even Nietzsche. So I don't see it. Maybe a gentleman sweep. Kings squeak one out at home. Maybe that's probably it.
Okay, so y'all are both going with Colorado in five. Obviously, like you said, Martin H.S. getting 100 points this season. Nathan McKinnon, 127 points, 53 goals. Their goaltender, Scott Wedgwood, too, leads the NHL in goals against average. So that doesn't help. The Kings are probably going to have to just rely on Anton Forsberg. I don't know how you guys feel, but I think we're all set on thinking that Anton probably gets the start over Darcy just because he's been a lot better than him in recent weeks. Um, Kuzmenko might come back. Byfield's been in decent form recently after a pretty stinky regular season. Um, Listen, Colorado's going to win. They are. But I would feel very weird about not giving the Kings a round. I do this every year. I always give the Kings one round, even if I think they're going to lose. So I do think they're going to lose, but just for that, even though Colorado lead the season series 3-0, I'm going to go with Los Angeles in seven. Kopitar's final run. I don't want his last game to be in the first round. We got to break the streak. We haven't won a playoff series since 2014. This is the year the Kings beat the Avalanche because we're not playing the Oilers, so it's fine, right? Anyway, let's move down to Dallas versus Minnesota. This is a series that I think we've seen quite a few times. In the head-to-head, the Stars were 1-1-1. The Wild had an overtime win. It was pretty even between them. You look at Dallas, 96 points from Jason Robertson, Wyatt Johnson getting almost 90 points. Then on the other side, Kirill Kaprizov. This guy's the highest paid player in NHL history, only putting up 89 points. That's a lot. Don't get me wrong. You would lead the Kings in points, but if you're making whatever it is, $17 million a year, I think you should be a 100-point player. But anyway, that's just my thought on that. I went with Dallas in 5 games. I don't think Minnesota didn't impress me. Parker, you and I went to the we went to two Wild Kings games in January, I think. And I was not impressed with Minnesota. I still am not too worried about them. I think they're a great team, don't get me wrong. Not too worried about it. Dallas have made it to the conference finals 3 years in a row. They've lost to Edmonton twice, lost to Colorado back in 2022 or 23. Um, I think Dallas takes this one. I think, again, Minnesota is a team that I'm not too worried about. I think this is finally Dallas's year to go a little bit further than they normally do. And I think they're going to breeze by in the first round.
Yeah, we're on the same team here. I just think they're one of the most complete teams in hockey. They're battle tested. They don't rely on one line. You could see all four lines contributing in the scoring. So yeah, this is a very hard team to beat in 7 games. I just don't think the Wild have the firepower to match this. So give me Dallas in six.
I like it.
Wish I could say I'm on the same side as you guys. But I've got the Wild in 7. I think this series is probably gonna be the best series of the whole playoffs. I think it's gonna be back and forth. Probably gonna be 2-2, go to 3-3. I mean, I just think both these teams are insane. I mean, the Wild fought injuries all year and they still put up the amount of points they did and had as good of a season. I mean, Kaprizov was out Wild, Jeek was out at the end, and then Boldy fought a couple injuries. But I think Quinn Hughes, Kaprizov, you got Boldy also coming off the Olympics. He had a great game in the final. He scored that goal. So I'd love to see what they do this year. Quinn Hughes also getting a real run in the playoffs for the first time, aside from the bubble.
Right.
So. I think I'm excited to see what this team does. I think they can do a lot, especially with the healthy. They're all getting healthy at the right time, it seems like. So I really want to see the Wild do well. I want to see them Minnesota have a good playoffs, and I do have them overcoming the Stars.
That's fair enough. And I do want to reiterate how much of a necessity it is for Minnesota to win this series. They haven't won a playoff series since 2015. Eight straight first round exits. They missed the playoffs twice in that span. It's the longest first round exit streak in the NHL. And I want to talk a little bit more about Kaprizov before we move on. Just on my earlier point, 89 points, and I know he missed some time. Is that enough though to be the highest paid player ever? Was this more of like that contract was an interesting one? It's like, okay, if you don't offer him this much money, maybe he leaves, but he turned down a contract that would have made him even more, higher paid than he is. I just feel like it's a little bit underwhelming for a guy that makes that much money.
I think that there's ever a time to prove it, it's now, especially with that big Quinn Hughes trade. Like
Yeah.
this is the time you have to prove that you know what you're doing, especially in the front office. Like you have to prove that you have your pieces together. They've also got Faber, who's US, so you got two US players in the back line who just won the gold. What better than to win a Stanley Cup as well? I mean, I think if there's ever a time to go all in, they did it at the right time. They've got all their players, highest paid player, like you said, Kaprizov. So they got to show up, and if they don't show up, it's gonna be really disappointing. And I know all their fan base is gonna be very upset, especially if they're a first round exit again with all this star power. So I really got to see them get it done, even if it's like a 3-1 and they come back. I would love to see that too, but who knows? I mean. I think they have the power and star power for sure. So they just got to show it.
I guess we'll see what happens. So Jack and I picking Dallas, Parker picking the great state of Minnesota, the state of hockey, they say. JW, you want to start us off with Vegas Golden Knights and the first playoff series in Utah Mammoth history.
I'd love to. Uh, this is reminding me of Vegas's first playoff series in their
Ooh,
first year, uh, where really we did not know what to expect. And they went on a run that year. I'm feeling the same kind of thing for Utah here. I think that they have absolutely nothing to lose going into this game. Vegas has all the pressure. Um, and Utah can come in here and just start getting a few wins. I think they win in seven. I don't think it's easy, but I think that Vegas is uh they're they're on the decline. I think they're getting a little old. Um, they got some cap problems going into the off season. I just think uh that Utah's gonna surprise a lot of people here.
nice of you to remind us of that playoff run with Vegas where they swept us in their first ever series, but it happens. Parker, what do you got there?
My gut was saying the same thing as Jack. I mean, Vegas are on a decline at the end of the year. Utah is just surprising people all year. I mean, their goalie's playing out of his mind, Vimelka. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right,
Yeah.
but he's been playing out of his mind. As well as Gunter and Keller. They've been playing so well, even Schmaltz. So I think I do like them. I want to see them win. I want to see them take it away. But I mean, Vegas has the experience. Like you got Marner, you got Hurdle, you got Stone, you got Eichel. Uh, I just think it's too much. I think probably 6 game series at least. Um, I mean, they're good, and playoffs come, you kind of tighten up. I feel like maybe they kind of felt too comfortable, too safe at the end of the season. They thought they're already in. Maybe they're just like not, they don't want to get hurt. So I do think the Golden Knights pull it out, but I don't see them going that far this year. They weren't as sharp as they looked at the very beginning. I mean, especially against the Kings this year, they swept that series, but they just haven't looked as sharp against anyone else.
Yeah, I mean, listen, Vegas on paper, the better team, just clinching the division, obviously. Utah had gotten pretty hot, and I thought that they would for certain beat Vegas. But then in comes John Tortorella, the coach, who finished the regular season without a regulation loss. I think it was 6-0-1 or it was maybe 7-0-1 or something like that. Um, I'm still going with Utah, though. I mean, I don't think Vegas are as dangerous as people think they are. I think they may well beat Utah, but they won't beat Dallas and they won't beat Colorado. They can't beat those big teams. So it's a 50-50 for me, and that's why I mean I went similar with you guys. I went Utah in seven. I think I don't really pay too much attention to the season series. Mammoth did lead it 2-1. It's a different game when you get to the playoffs. I mean, obviously, first playoff series in Mammoth history, but obviously some of these guys when they were on the Coyotes had some experience in the bubble. But it's a completely different game. I mean, when it comes down to it and the playoff experience comes to play, these Vegas guys, a lot of these dudes won the Stanley Cup in 23 with Vegas. A lot of playoff experience there. They have more experience than Utah in the playoffs, but I got to go with Utah on this one. I think they might be able to pull it out in seven. All right. The last Western Conference matchup. It is the Edmonton Oilers and not against the Los Angeles Kings. They stay in Southern California and they play against the Anaheim Ducks. Um, we look at the leaders. I mean, I think Anaheim are among the worst teams in the playoffs. It's probably the Kings and the Ducks for worst playoff teams, I think, in this playoff. Um, Look at Anaheim. Cutter Gauthier with 69 points, Leo Carlson with 67 points. They combined for 136 points. McDavid alone has 138 points. So that's just, I mean, this guy's a game breaker. McDavid had 90 assists this season, nearly had 50 goals. Draisaitl, on the other hand, 97 points. He would have hit 100 if he didn't miss the last couple of weeks of the season. He's not certain for game one, Leon Draisaitl. He is likely to return in the first round. I just don't know exactly when. But even without Leon Draisaitl, I'm not sure Anaheim has the ability to pull this off. They were really hot in the beginning of the season and they went on slumps. I mean, they've been like this all season long. That's just how it goes. But I'm just not particularly impressed by Anaheim at all. The Ducks need to capitalize though in game one. If Draisaitl's not going to be playing, the Ducks need to win that game one. It is so important to win that in Edmonton, which we know, boys, is like from what we've seen the last 4 years, is an incredibly hard playoff atmosphere to play in when you're the away team. I mean, the Kings have stolen some games away, but I mean that Oilers crowd when they're down, I mean, you could be down 3 goals with 2 minutes left, and you're still not confident. With that being said, Edmonton in five. I think the Ducks might steal one. Maybe they get game one. Maybe they pick one up at the Honda Center back in Orange County, but they're just not going to win the series. The Oilers are certainly going to blow through them, I think. So I'll go with the Oilers.
Yeah, Aidan, I'm with you here. I think the Ducks suck. I think they're the worst team in the playoffs. And yeah, I think something everyone would have to go down on the Oilers for the Ducks to have a chance here. So originally had it in six, but the more I think about it, it's just not going to be close. So we're gonna have a sweep
Ooh,
for the Oilers here.
wow. And by the way, Parker, before you go on to yours, I don't know how you guys feel as Kings fans, or I mean, Parker, I know you're Hurricanes sometimes, whatever. But uh, as a Kings fan, I hate to root for the Ducks because they're the rival, but I have to say I'm rooting for Anaheim in this series. But sorry to say. Anyway, Parker.
Um, yeah, I mean, obviously, I'm newer in when I started following hockey, but I have Oilers in four. I just
Yeah.
don't see the Ducks competing. They're just not. Yes, they're good. I just don't think they're talented enough. I think Edmonton's been banged up all year. Um, they probably would have been way better. No injuries, of course, but injuries are obviously take a toll. So I mean, who's gonna stop McDavid? They picked up Carlson. Like I'm not really convinced. I mean, Dostal's been playing out of his mind, so he'll have to even reach another level if they even want to compete. So I'm really thinking that Edmonton's just gonna run right through them. And I don't want this to be like a negative thing on the Ducks, but I think this is a great year to build on. I think next year they should probably be even better than they were this year. Like you've got a really young base, young core of players. Like they're going to be good for the next couple of years as long as they keep all their pieces together. But yeah, that being said, McDavid can't stop them.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, that young core the Ducks have, I mean, like you said, I mean, it's their first year back in the playoffs in quite a bit. It's been a bit for Ducks fans. I'm sure they're hoping obviously to go pretty far in the playoffs, but you just can't expect that. You can't. I mean, when you're back in the playoffs, for the first time. And, they weren't not like they won the division. It's not like Buffalo, they break their streak, but, they win their division. It's been a while. So, like you said, the Ducks this is a learning experience for them. Obviously, they're playing a team that's made it out of the West 2 years in a row now. And they're looking like they could do it a third year. But yeah, I mean, like I agree with you boys here. It's going to be an easy walk in the park for Edmonton, similar to how Edmonton was against us 2 years ago. It's just going to be an easy. It's basically a first round bye. I'd love to see Anaheim pull something out. It'd be crazy because if I'm not mistaken, the last playoff run that I remember the Ducks playing in was when they played against the Oilers back in 17, maybe 18. But it should be an interesting series to see. I'm excited to see the Ducks back in the playoffs, to be honest. All right, let's move over to the East. The team I just mentioned a few moments ago, ending their playoff drought, the longest streak in the NHL. They hadn't made the playoffs since 2011. Then they clinch the Atlantic Division this year. The Buffalo Sabres, they go up against the wild card one spot in the East, the Boston Bruins. Jack, I mean, listen, you're a Boston guy, so what do you got?
I mean, I haven't followed hockey as much as I should have this year, but just seeing the Sabres in the playoffs just does not seem right. Seems like there was a typo or someone inserted the wrong logo in there. So when I'm just looking at the logos, it's like a no-brainer that the Bruins are going to win this series. They have the playoff experience. How are the Sabres so good all of a sudden? How do they go from the worst team in the league for 10 years to uh, the best in their division? I'd love to learn more, but yeah, I have the Bruins in six.
Park,
Wow. I'm upstate. I'm at Syracuse.
right?
I wanted to go to a Sabres game all year. I try to get all my friends to go. I really wanted to get out to one. Never worked out. But from what I've heard from the Buffalo kids who are up here, that stadium's going to be rocking this year. And it's going to be an insane environment for a team to come up to. I know Boston has experience. Pasta, obviously one of the best players in the league. I have Buffalo in six. I think this is the year. I mean, home ice. I think that they're gonna do it. If there's a year to do it, it's this year. And you really cannot mess this up, especially being the top seed in your division, top seed in the East, if I'm not mistaken. Um, but yeah, or no, it's the Hurricanes, ain't
Or,
it?
yeah, but
Yeah,
second,
but
yeah.
top in their division. What a year to come back! You're really killing it this year. Tage Thompson's been insane. Their whole top line's been insane. They've really been playing out of their mind. I think you got to keep it rolling. Got to keep it rolling for the playoffs. Yes, Bruins are good. I think they're really unlucky in their first round matchup. They definitely could lose that because Bruins are the Bruins. But I like the Sabres in six.
Yeah, I mean, Parker, I know Tage is absolutely flying right now, obviously coming off of winning a gold medal with Team USA. You've always been a bit of a Tage fan. I feel like that's a guy you always bet on to score, and he does more often than not. 40 goal scorer this season. Rasmus Dahlin having a great year as well. I think one of the best defensemen in the league. Offensively, defensively, he fights people too. I mean, he's just an all-around player. Um, I really like the goaltender for Buffalo, Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen. I like the name, but he's also a great goaltender. He's top 10 in goals against and top 10 in save percentage in the league. Um, Listen, like you said, when you were talking to those Buffalo kids, how the arena is just going to be absolutely rocking. I mean, they haven't seen playoff hockey since 2011. Some fans, by the way, weren't even born or they weren't old enough to remember the last time the Sabres were in the playoffs. Of course, the young fans. But honestly, I mean, Buffalo has been it's been like a curse in every sport. They've had the Bills and all that, but still no Super Bowl. Obviously, the Bills back in the day losing four Super Bowls in a row and then not making it back. And then yeah, the Sabres haven't been good in years and years. In fact, they've been very bad. Um, Boston doesn't scare me. I mean, if you just contain that first line with Pasta, Geeky, and I think Lindholm's the third guy on that line, the second line's decent and everything. It's not amazing though. They just don't scare me. I think Buffalo can walk through them pretty well. Yeah, like I said, it's been 15 years. Even though the Buffalo players don't have playoff experience, Tage and Rasmus Dahlin playing in their first playoff. Um, it's got to be Buffalo with home ice, game 1 and 2 in Buffalo. I think they go 2-0 in that stretch, and I think Buffalo takes the series in six. So there you go. Parker and I choose Buffalo. Jack sticking with his boys in Boston. Moving down to Atlantic 2 and 3. Tampa Bay Lightning, Montreal Canadiens, a rematch of, I believe it was the 2021 Stanley Cup final. It's the young guys versus the experienced guys, you could say. Park, I know you like Cole Caulfield. What do you like about these Canadiens, or what do you not like?
I love these Canadians. I've been high on them all year. Lane Hudson, Nick Suzuki. They've looked great. And Slavkovsky coming off a great Olympics too. Everyone was shell shocked to see him how well he performed. The highest stage that we saw this year so far. But that's not good enough to beat Kucherov and these Lightning. I mean, Radish, you've got Gensel. I can't
Gensel,
even
yeah.
pronounce any of these names, but yeah. You also got Hagel coming back at the right time. I just I think it's going to be a great series, similar to the Wild series. I have Lightning in seven. I think Lightning are really good this year. I mean, I'm excited to see what they do. Kucherov, obviously, just missing out on Connor McDavid for po most points this year. But obviously, I think the Lightning are going to handle them easily. Not a lot of experience for the Canadians for these young guys. So I've got Lightning in seven.
Yeah, I mean, the experienced guys for Montreal, Caulfield and Suzuki. Caulfield's 25, Suzuki's 26. You look at the young guys for Montreal, Lane Hudson, 78 points in his first full season. Remember, he made his debut in the playoffs last year, playing 2 games for Montreal. And then Ivan Demidov, the rookie, 62 points in his rookie season. Juraj Slavkovsky, guy you mentioned, Parker, 73 points in just his second full season with Montreal. But it's a matter of, can the young guys beat the experienced Tampa guys? Most guys on that Tampa team have 2 cups and they've been to the final 3 times. Corey Perry, a guy who's been to the final, what, 5 or 6 times now? He's back in Tampa getting that experience. This will go all the way. I'm with you. I think it's going to end in seven. I've gone the other way though. I think I'm going to give it to the young guys in Montreal. Um, Listen, partially for Teddy, he obviously works with the Canadiens, so I got to back him a little bit. Got to say Montreal takes it. I'd like Montreal to take it. I think Tampa, it could go either way. That's why any series that I have going in seven could obviously go either way. Hence why it's going all, to the distance. But I got to give it to Montreal. I think this is their year. Suzuki's got 101. Hold on, let me backtrack. It's their year to win the series, not their year to win the cup. Uh, Suzuki with 101 points. Caulfield getting his 50th goal, getting 88 points. Obviously, Wisconsin Badger. I love that guy. I'm gonna have to give it to Montreal, so I'll go Canadiens in seven.
I'm more on Parker's side of the fence here. I don't think Montreal's ready. I do think it's going to be an amazing series, but not as amazing as y'all think. I think all the games will be super close, but that the Lightning, with their experience, that they're going to win the series 4-1. Not saying the games aren't going to be close. They are all going to be nail biters.
All right, well, there you go. I guess I'm the only one that believes in the Canadiens up north. We'll head now to the Carolina Hurricanes, Metropolitan one, Eastern Conference one, against Wild Card two, Ottawa Senators. The Ottawa Senators just squeaked in. They were battling for it with a couple of teams, Detroit, obviously, who had a terrible collapse, and Columbus as well. Park, I mean, you're a Hurricanes guy, so what do you got for us here?
You know, I think I'm gonna leave my Hurricanes allegiance in the past. I'm gonna stick to my roots in LA. I'm just gonna be full Kings.
Let's
I
go.
I really wanted
Officially.
to root officially. I really
Let's
wanted to root for the Hurricanes. Kind of playoff roll around. I'm like, oh yeah, Hurricanes got this year, but I've never followed closely enough. I don't think there's enough guys on that team that I really love to call myself a fan. Um, and when I look at this series, I really wanted to pick the Senators. I really did. I just think they're so good right now. They're really playing well, but I mean, you're not going to outscore the Hurricanes, and I think that's what it's going to come down to. So I went with the Hurricanes in five. I think first round this will kind of be easy for them. I think they'll all be high scoring, but I think when it comes down to who score more goals, it's going to be the Hurricanes by a mile.
J-Dub.
I think it could go that way. It could also go, it's a super close series and the Hurricanes. I have the Hurricanes winning 4-3. Um, yeah, I just think they're relentless. They're one of the best teams in the NHL. But I do think Ottawa's hot at the right time, and that they're gonna squeak out some wins.
Yeah, it's a tough one, but I mean, listen, Carolina's got a 25% power play. That's fourth in the league. Ottawa's got one of the worst PKs in the league. So you got the one of the worst PKs going up against the top five power play. Also, Carolina scores the third most goals per game in the league. They score over 3.5 goals per game. It's a similar, I feel similarly about the Ducks that I do with the Senators. I think the Senators are honestly a better team. I mean, I know they're wild card too. The Ducks are Pacific 3, but obviously the Eastern Conference is just way more stacked than the West this year. But I feel similarly because I just think that Ottawa's not ready yet. I think the Ducks aren't ready. They got their young core. I think Ottawa's close. They're a bit closer than Anaheim, obviously making it to the playoffs, losing to Toronto last year. But I just think Ottawa's not ready yet. I think this is going to be an easy one for Carolina. They always tend to do pretty well in the first round. Similar to Dallas. So I'm gonna go with Parker here and say Carolina in 5. We head now to the final playoff series of the first round, one that I'm probably I always say like I don't want to say I'm most excited for it, but I think this is one that's catching my eye the most, which is the Battle of Pennsylvania. You've got Metropolitan 2 versus Metropolitan 3, the Pittsburgh Penguins and the Philadelphia Flyers. The Flyers were 2-2. Both Flyer wins, by the way, came in the shootout. As we all know, there's no shootout in the playoffs. It's not even going to be 3-on-3. It's going to be 5-on-5. The Penguins are like the definition of mid. They literally went 41 and 41. But what excites me about this is the Flyers have a young team. They haven't been in the playoffs in a bit. The Penguins, with Sidney Crosby, who, could be one of his last years. But both teams are on 98 points. They're even with each other. The only reason why the Penguins moved up on Philly is because of the regulation wins. Listen, Sidney Crosby's still doing it. He's 38 years old. He's been leading the Penguins in points every season since 2017-18. Lowest points per game in Crosby's career. He's got 74 points this season. Um, I think it's a kind of like the Montreal Tampa series where it's the young guys versus the old guys. Um, Philadelphia leads the all-time playoff history 4-3. It's always been even historically. Pittsburgh won the last meeting back in 2018. This might be my toughest one. I'm still not 100% sure. I think I'm going to give it to Philadelphia, though, despite the inexperience. I'm going against the grain. I think Pittsburgh should win the series, but I think I have to give it to Philly. Just this is probably like my upset besides the Kings taking it over Colorado. This is probably my upset. I think it's going to go the distance, so I'm going to stick with Flyers in 7.
I disagree. I'm trusting the veteran core here of the Penguins. I respect Philly. I think that they're just still building out their identity at the moment, and expecting them to win a playoff series. I think that's a bit much, Aidan. So yeah, give me Pittsburgh in 6.
Yeah, I wish I was riding with Crosby. I just can't. I think Philly Philly's been flying this year. Flyers for a reason. They're getting hot at the exact right time. I mean, I just if- Pittsburgh all year they've just kind of been like they decide when they want to show up and decide when they don't. Like you can kind of tell in the first 5 minutes if they're going to win the game or not. And I think that's just been the case all year. I would love to see in the playoffs they really just go at it every game, but they've just been really inconsistent this year. It's like they'll look like the best team in the league one night, then a couple nights later you're like, how did that team just blow my team out? So I really want to give it to the Flyers. They've been playing it exceptionally well. A team that was not supposed to make the playoffs. I don't think anyone really had them really even sniffing the playoffs this year. They kind of had them more towards the bottom. But Zegras first playoff series, I'm excited to see what he does. Got a lot of young guys. I think they're hungry. They're ready. Michkov, I think, has something to prove. I mean, number two to Celebrini. You see what Celebrini did this year. Like, you kind of gotta prove yourself because he really wanted to be drafted first. I know he did. So we'll see what happens here with the series. I want to see the Flyers win. I got them in 7.
All right, there you go. Let's move over to second round now. We're going to kind of fly by these now that we have our in detail about every team. In the first round, second round, obviously we've all got different matchups. So we'll start from Western Conference down, then go to East. Jack, why don't you start us off with? Do you want to just do you want to go game by game, or do you want to just tell me your whole second round?
I could give you my whole second round
Let's do
here.
it. Let's do it.
All right, so I have the Avalanche in Dallas. I'm taking Dallas. Then that doesn't really need explanation. Then we have Utah against the Oilers. Give me Utah. I think that they ride that momentum into the next series. Okay, then we have Boston and the Lightning. I'm taking Boston. Um, yeah, I know it's hot, but we like the takes hot. Next game we have Pittsburgh and the Canes, and I'm taking Pittsburgh,
Oh,
and I'm taking Pittsburgh. So that leaves us. Should I keep going?
stick with it. We'll stick with the second round now, and then we'll have Parker give his second round to bring us back to earth here, and then we'll get to the third round in a bit. But all right, Park, what do you got?
Yeah, so kind of not going to stay on Earth here. I've got the Wild against the Avalanche. I got the Wild advancing. Like I said, it's their year. Avalanche haven't looked good at the end of the year. I'm taking the Wild. I'm taking the Wild. And then I've got Knights against Oilers. Give me the Oilers. I mean, it's McDavid. You won't see me ever slandering McDavid. He's so good. I think the Oilers are going to get it done. Knights also haven't looked great. Even if I think the Oilers have to go through Utah, I think they'll do it. Um, so yeah, that's my West. And then for my East, we got Sabres Lightning. I don't know if you guys watched the two games that they played near the end of the season when it was close, but those games, firecrackers. All I gotta say. I think this series will be amazing. Electricity high. Give me the Lightning to beat the Sabres. Not enough experience from that side. Then we got the Flyers and the Canes. And it's the same story with the Canes every year. They're going to make the Eastern Conference Finals. I just don't see the Flyers really putting up with that. So yeah, it's my East.
All right. I like that. So y'all both didn't have Colorado getting out of the second round, which again, I know I put LA over Colorado, but realistically, I've got Colorado. But yeah, so I've got LA versus Dallas, but no matter if it was LA or Colorado, I have Dallas in five, beating Colorado. For some reason, if you win the President's Trophy, I never think that you're going to do well. I mean, remember the Kings beat the President's Trophy winners back in 12 en route to winning the cup. So I got Dallas over LA in five. I think this the fairy tale story ending for Kopitar ends in the second round. Dallas takes it in five. We got Utah versus Edmonton. Pretty confident in McDavid and Draisaitl to send Utah packing in five. Buffalo versus Montreal. That's going to be a pretty fun one to watch, I think, if it happens. I got Buffalo in seven. And then Carolina versus Philadelphia. Again, nice victory over Pittsburgh by Philadelphia, but I got Carolina in four. Jack, we've got the conference finals now. What do you got for the third round? Who will be getting out of the East and West for you?
Yeah, so we'll start with the West. My matchup is Dallas and Utah, and we're leaning Utah here. They're
Ooh,
gonna make it. They're gonna come out of the
ooh.
West, and we'll see if they win the chip. But yeah, they're absolutely making it out of the West. Don't doubt it. Then on the other side, we have the Bruins and the Penguins, and we're gonna ride with the Penguins here. As Parker said, some games they have it on, some games they have it off. But that's the regular season. We're talking playoffs. Pittsburgh's gonna have it on. They're gonna be the best version of themselves, and they're gonna whip the Bruins.
Oh. So you got Utah versus Pittsburgh in the Stanley Cup final.
It's exactly what I have.
Wow. Okay. I like the boldness. Parker, what do you got?
Yeah, not nearly as bold. I've got I've got Wild and Oilers in the West. And I'm gonna take the Wild. It's gotta be their year. You gotta go all in. It's gotta be the point. I'm taking the Wild over the Oilers. Kaprizov versus McDavid. I think this series will be amazing. But I'm taking the Wild. And then over in the East, Lightning Hurricanes. I think it'll be more of the same for the Hurricanes. Let down in the Eastern Conference Finals. Probably sweep like they normally get. Give me the Lightning. Got Lightning Wild. Again, stars are out. Kucherov, Kaprizov. But I'm gonna take the Wild to lift the cup this
Oh,
year.
you're
First
wow.
time.
Okay. Wild winning the cup. Okay.
Oh, I jumped the gun
Hey,
there.
listen, that's
Sorry,
fine. That's
got
fine.
so excited. I wanted to tell you guys.
I can't believe it because that's the Minnesota Wild are a team that I just don't see them. Listen, if they can beat Dallas in the first round, obviously I don't have them winning in my bracket, but that doesn't really matter.
all
If
the
the
way.
Wild can get past Dallas, I could see something like that happening. Just can they get past Dallas, Colorado, and Edmonton? They have to get through probably all three of those teams realistically. My
Yeah.
third round is again, I was telling Jack before we started this that I always feel like these teams are gonna like they're always in my final, but they're kind of like the equivalent of each other in the West and East, where they're always very good. They always bow out short. So I've got Dallas versus Edmonton. I don't see Edmonton going to a cup final for a third year. I've got Dallas in seven going to the Stanley Cup final. And then Buffalo versus Carolina. Buffalo, great run. Carolina, very, very bad in the Eastern Conference final. I think they're what, 1-12 or something in their last however many Eastern Conference finals. But this time I've got Carolina breaking that streak, beating Buffalo, taking it in six. So I've got Carolina versus Dallas in the Stanley Cup final. So we know, Parker, you have the Minnesota Wild winning the Stanley Cup over the Tampa Bay Lightning. Jack, the Utah Mammoth versus the Pittsburgh Penguins. Who is going to be lifting the Stanley Cup?
I mean, just think about this storyline. We have Sidney Crosby and the Penguins against the Cinderella Utah Mammoth.
You
I
almost said
mean,
Jazz.
I almost did say Jazz. Um, but I have Utah being the big story of this, but Pittsburgh being the ending, winning in five, and Sidney Crosby gets another Stanley Cup.
Wow. So the Penguins going all the way to the Stanley Cup final, winning the Stanley Cup. So I've got the Dallas Stars against the Carolina Hurricanes. Dallas, they made it to the Cup final in 2020, I want to say. They lost to the Tampa Bay Lightning. It was heartbreak. It was Corey Perry on that team. It was Joe Pavelski's last stab at winning a cup. Couldn't do it. The Stars haven't won a cup since 1999, since the new millennium. The Hurricanes, on the other hand, they haven't made it to a cup final since 2006 when they beat the Oilers, when their captain was Rod Brindamore, of course, the coach at the Hurricanes. For me, I love Dallas. I think they're a great team, but I'm going to give Carolina the Stanley Cup, their first since 2006, their second in uh, in franchise history. The Carolina Hurricanes are going to be lifting Lord Stanley's Cup in 2026. So there you go. Hurricanes, Penguins, and Wild, three teams that I'm not sure many fans would have chosen. Who do you think? What do you think the popular vote is going to say? I mean, Avs. Like, what do you think the most popular Cup final is going to be? Like Avs for sure out of the West, right? It's got to be.
Definitely. I
I,
think it's 100% going to be the Avs. I think they've just kind of ran through this year, started off really hot. I mean, that run really lasted until like a couple months ago. Obviously, it's tough to tell because I think a lot of people have been getting sat, rested. Makar obviously got hurt at the end of the year. Um, but I've watched a lot of their games, a lot of their games at the end of the year. They haven't looked as good. Obviously, I saw them play the Canucks recently. Canucks pretty sure pulled that game out.
they did.
And then they played the Blues. Blues pulled it out too. I mean, those are two teams that are not in the playoffs, and if you're gonna let them compete, I mean, I want to see how these top teams compete against them towards the end of the year, especially in the playoffs. But obviously, it's the playoffs, so everything changes. So maybe
Yeah,
they're kind of checked out at the end of the year. But I feel like it's hard to check back in, which goes back to my bracket why I went off of obviously Pittsburgh, Jack's winner.
right.
But it's gonna be Avalanche. We've seen it all year, killing team. So yeah,
Yeah, one more note too on the Hurricanes. I was just looking at the bracket. Yes, they've had troubles in the Eastern Conference Final, but I think this is the first time where I can confidently say that Carolina is the best. Forget about standings, but I think they are the best team in the Eastern Conference. Like, there's not a team like the Panthers or in recent year, the Rangers. There's not a team that I think can beat Carolina. I just don't think there is. Like, I don't see who do you see beating Carolina in the East? I mean, I know, well, I know who you guys see, but like, I don't know. I just don't see them losing until they get to the cup final. Like I just don't see it. And even then, I think they beat Dallas, but I don't know. It's doing my head in actually because like my bracket's always horrible and it's gonna be horrible again this year when I pick the Kings to win the fucking Stanley Cup. But um I just don't see a team beating Carolina. I don't know. It's funny looking at your guys's Cup final too. Like three of those four teams I had going out in the first round, and then the other team I had going out in the second round. So should be fun. Should be fun. Any final words from y'all before we close this out?
Yeah, I mean, I kind of want to build off of
Please.
that kind of Hurricanes take. I think Lightning, unbelievable. I think they're going to be. I really think they're the dark horse this year, or not dark horse. I think they're just the horse. They're the lead. They're the lead horse. I think they've battled injuries all year. I think they're gonna get healthy at the right time. Um, and when they play together, they are. I mean, they're a top team. Um, I think I think they're gonna really make noise. I think these they kind of get lucky in who they're playing. I think obviously the Bruins do get past the Sabres. I think that'll be a tougher matchup for them.
Mm.
But the Hurricanes just I don't know what it is. They fall apart every year. Like I've only paid attention every year because you text me, you're like, yo, hockey bracket, make filling out. I'm like, all right. So I always tune in. My bracket always looks good after the first round. I'm like, oh my God, it's the year. It's the year. And then I always fall apart right after that. And it's always because I have the Hurricanes.
Right.
I have the Hurricanes in my Eastern Conference. I have the Hurricanes going all the way, and then it's over from there. But I really think the best team that I've seen in that East is the Lightning. And going back to my bracket, I think Wild, if they're gonna do it, they're gonna have to run the gauntlet. And I think obviously they're the underdog in every they're gonna be the underdog in every series the whole way. And I think they'll do it. Obviously, I think that's the Stars are they're really good. Rantanen just came back too. J Rob, and then you got Johnston, and their defenders look good. Their defensemen. So I think that's going to be a great series. Like I see the Stars doing it too, but I just kind of want to put out the teams I just don't think are going to make any noise, like too much noise. I don't think Sabres are going to go that far. I don't think the Canadians are going to go that far. Even though, yes, they're great teams, I just don't see them going that far. Flyers probably one round at most. And then, sorry, Kings probably one round,
Yeah.
two maximum. I mean, the Avalanche have looked bad. I really wanted to pick the Kings. Avalanche haven't looked great at the end of the year. I think the Kings could slow it down, probably play their game. Ducks are probably going one round as well. But yeah, I think those are just the kind of the teams that are not going to do that much, and the rest are kind of up to chance. So yeah, I'm excited to see it.
All right, J-Dub.
Final thoughts. Yeah, Parker hit the nail on the head when he's talking about Tampa Bay being that team, uh, like the Rangers have been in the past. The team that beats Carolina in the conference final. I also see that being Tampa Bay if they're to make it there. Um, but yeah, I think everything that y'all are saying is very real. I think it sucks to say, but the team that maybe we're not talking enough about is the Oilers here.
Mm.
Um, but let's hope that we're not talking about the Oilers a couple weeks from now.
Yeah. We'll see. So will it be the Penguins? Will it be the Hurricanes? Will it be the Wild? Or will it be somebody else? We don't know. We'll keep you guys updated on our thoughts once our Stanley Cup champions get eliminated in the first round. Stay tuned for post-game live episodes like we did last year with the Kings and Oilers. We're going to do the same thing for the Lakers, Rockets, and the Avalanche and Kings. Parker, hopefully you join us for a couple of those post-game. Hopefully we're not too sad, and hopefully it's more than four videos. We will see, but that's going to do it for us. For Jack Weisberg, Parker Masana, I'm Aidan Michaels. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next week.